Hey there, welcome back. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Dara, and in this video, you're going to learn how to condition and care for fresh cut hyacinth. Let's get started. So usually hyacinth come packaged in a clear plastic sleeve. This is pretty much ideal. This is kind of the way you want to find them. That usually means they're super fresh. Even fresher would mean they're sitting in the flower markets on a shelf out of water, and they're usually packaged in 5-bunch packages wrapped in paper. Those are the absolute freshest, and if that's what you're interested in, then that would be what you're looking for. If you need open hyacinths, then you would go for something that is in water and the blooms have already opened out a little bit. So here I'm showing you how to take off the foliage. This is a little bit different than processing other flowers in that you kind of open out the foliage. You open it out on a horizontal way rather than like dragging downward vertically, if that makes sense. And I will show you some closer up shots of how to do that, so it makes it a little bit easier for you to do this part. This is an essential part of cleaning and caring for hyacinth. If you leave the foliage on, they turn yellow very quickly and also create murk in the water and bacteria, which we don't want because we want our fresh cut hyacinth to last as long as possible. So here I'm kind of taking off that bulb end, and that is also an essential part of cleaning up the hyacinth. And just take off any of the little sheaths of that green foliage there and the little white pieces, bringing it down just to the flower stem. You'll notice that there is dirt on the stem that is also natural, and we will remove that. I will show you in a couple of seconds here how to do that. So this bulb piece, again, you can fold out horizontally, kind of just like peel that off, peel it outward and then off. Hyacinth are super fragrant, one of my favorite flowers, and I don't get to use them a ton if they're in larger arrangements because they usually aren't any taller than about 6-7 inches max. I feel like I've rarely ever seen them taller than that. So I tend to use them in more short arrangements, pave. Here we are with the close-up of showing you folding outward. You're kind of like peeling it open and off and away. It's very unlike processing other flowers where you're not bending backwards and down. That would break the stem. They're very fragile stems. And if it's easier for you, you can go in with your florist knife and kind of peel that bulb piece back, and then continue to take off the foliage, opening it out and down. And you're gonna wanna make sure to take all of it off, all of the little white pieces at the bottom, all of the green foliage, and just keep going until you get down to the flower stem. All foliage should be gone. That will ensure the longest lasting fresh cut. And some of the things that I look for when I'm buying hyacinth is tight blooms, because that will ensure a longer lasting flower. If you need them right away, then buy them open, and usually you will see them in water and already open, and they will last, depends on where they are in their open stage, but anywhere from like 2 to 5 days. And here we are with the dirt. This is how we clean the dirt off of the stem. You get cold water and kind of holding the entire bunch in your hand, and with the other hand, just massaging gently off that dirt and any of the remaining kind of foliage strips that might be lingering around on that stem there, and the little bulb pieces that also might be at the end of the stem. And I'm just kind of feeling, making sure there's no bits of dirt there, shaking it a little bit, patting it off, just so I'm not creating a huge drippy mess. And then when we're done with that, we go in with our Victorinox florist knife, give it a fresh cut at an angle, and then place into cold water, prepped with your flower food. I like to use the powder floral food, it's my favorite. And again, 45-degree angle on those cuts, that will ensure optimum hydration And if you're not yet comfortable with the Victorinox florist knife, you can also use, in lieu of that, a Zenport shear. These are my favorite. Also 45 angle cut. It creates more surface area and allows for more hydration. Put that in water. Another cut there just to show you again. Gorgeous. And again, make sure that you're using cold water. Hyacinth are a spring bulb flower, and all spring bulb flowers like cold water. In the flower shop, this is how we condition and process. We usually do it all at once. Once we have all of the stems stripped down, all of that foliage off, then we take the entire bunch in our hand and give it a fresh cut at an angle with that knife, and then place all of it in our vase. It's just a quicker, more efficient method for conditioning. And then once you have them in the vase, go ahead and just kind of give them a little swirl, making sure that the blooms have kind of each individual space so that when they open out, they're not crushed up against each other. It makes it really easy. And then with finishing touch, I give that a vigorous shake and spray all around, making sure that I get all angles of that flower. And here we have it. So going back to why I only use these in short arrangements is that even though hyacinth continue to grow after they are cut, they may grow an additional 1 to 3 inches, maybe even slightly more, but probably not more than 4 inches. You can stake hyacinth, and this would be very similar to how to tube and stake orchids video, which I will link up here for you. You can watch that. It's a very similar process, and basically you would take a hyacinth stick, and I like to use the 1/4 inch clear Oasis tape for this work. The tape is thinner and more delicate, and it is appropriate for how delicate those stems are. You would not want to use the 1/4 inch Oasis waterproof tape because that's a very durable, sturdy tape, and it may cause damage to the stem. So it's just better to use the 1/4 inch clear Oasis tape for that type of work. And also when you're using a hyacinth stake, just keep in mind that if you are working in a clear glass vase and you can see the water, the hyacinth stake will dye the water green. It adds a green tint, and that's why I tend to prefer using only ceramic vases. That way all of the mechanics of the arrangement as well as the color of the water inside the vase is concealed and not visible. I just think it's an all-around more elegant way to design, and that's my preference. But if you like to design in clear glass, just keep in mind that that hyacinth stick will dye and tint the water green. I do tend to stake them even if I'm using them in short arrangements because the heads tend to, once the blooms fully open out, the blooms tend to be so heavy that it will break and bend the stem, and it will require that extra support from a hyacinth stick. You could use a bamboo stick, but I think that they are too large. Unless you can find a bamboo stake that is the size of a hyacinth stick, usually they have a wider diameter, so I tend not to use them for staking hyacinth. But if you can find a bamboo stake that is like the size of a hyacinth stick, that would actually be my preference, because then you could use them in a clear glass vase without getting the tinted water effect. So there you have it. I hope this extra little amount of information is helpful, and if you have any questions about hyacinth or how to care for them, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and let me know where you're watching from. I'm very curious to see where you're from, what your goals are, why you're here, and if you're just, a beginner florist starting out on your floral career and you're here to learn, amazing. Or if you're just, an everyday flower lover and picking up flowers from the grocery store and just want to take better care and get longer lasting fresh cut flowers. I'm curious to know where you're from and what you're doing. All of the tools that you've seen here in this video can be found at my Amazon store linked below, where you can get items shipped directly to you from Amazon. It's very quick and easy, and when I don't have quick and easy access to my flower market, I get stuff shipped directly to me from Amazon. It's amazing, it's super easy. So please feel free to check out that link below and shop. It will help support this channel so that I can continue making free floral education content for you and entertainment. So thank you again so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.